Hey guys, here's your Kentucky Lake recap. We just finished up here, long 2 weeks on the road, but a great 2 weeks. Grand Lake with a 4th place finish, and just finished 22nd here on Kentucky Lake. Practice was good to start off. The water was high. Water level was 2 feet over summer pool, so you had a lot of water in the bushes. And you all know that first week of May and last of April at Kentucky Lake, if you get water in the bushes, it's just phenomenal fishing. But what happens is the TVA likes to get that water back down to summer pool pretty quick, and that's exactly what happened. The first day of practice, I went out. It was pretty easy in the bushes, a lot of fun. And the fish stayed in the bushes even after they pulled the water down every day, but it just wasn't as easy as it was the first day, and the fish just didn't keep coming. So I was worried about having the right amount of fish and having the right size fish in the bushes, and it just was real spotty for me. I know a lot of guys caught them that way, but I wanted to find something a little more, solid that I could put into a good tournament finish. So I kept looking, and what I ended up going with is, and it's something you can't ever overlook, is just an obvious deal. I ended up catching my fish around kind of marina slips that were spawning fish. Now, not necessarily like a marina, like Paris Landing Marina or anything like that. Kind of residential marinas where they were bigger docks than one, just kind of be 6 or 7 slips there where a community's got some boats in there. Fish would be spawning behind them, and a lot of times those banks were deeper behind, and not real deep, but just had a little more steep of an angle to it. So when they were dropping that water, those fish could stay spawning. These were all spawning fish that I was catching this week, 100%. I don't think I weighed in one fish that wasn't spawning. If I did, I didn't know about it, but some of them were sight fishing. Kentucky Lake's hard to see. I was running south, so the water level was not great to do a lot of sight fishing, but there was some fish that I would, if I got lucky enough to see them, I could back off and catch them. But I basically caught all spawning fish and just made it work. I exhausted my 2 areas the first 2 days, and then went looking for new water the 3rd day and just didn't catch the size fish I needed to jump into the top 12, but still had a great finish. But how I attacked these spawning fish here at Kentucky Lake was all about a sinking worm. Anytime you get around spawning fish, these stick baits, I don't know, something about it, sinking worm, they just love them. If I saw a spawning fish, or if I just wanted to flip bushes, because I did catch some fish that way that were some spawning fish were, or if I seen, like I said, I seen a fish on bed, I would Texas rig the sinking worm, and on a 4-aught hook, I went to 20-pound line because we got some colored water here, so you didn't really have to worry about them seeing the line, and a 1/4 ounce weight, because these fish weren't deep at all. I mean, there was a foot of water most of the time where I was catching fish, maybe 2 feet. So I was going with a real light weight on that, just Texas rigging that sinking worm right there. And I was doing that on an NEPS 90 HF rod. I used that at Grand last week. It's got to work out the past 2 weeks. It's been really phenomenal. 7-to-1 gear ratio reel, just unbelievable. And sensitivity on these rods, I've been using these for they're actually the NEPS, a new blank to us here. We've kind of updated the Elite Pro series, and it's got some nano resin in it, some things like that that's going to help sensitivity, durability, things of that nature. And the sensitivity in these rods is unreal. These spawning fish really aren't biting it hard, so you don't feel them that great. A lot of times you just look up and your line's gone. But with these rods, I would actually feel that tick, and that helped me a lot of times. Maybe I was looking for spawners, kind of just pitching, going on the bank, and I would feel that tick, not even looking at the bait. So these rods were definitely key. But my main thing, and I know you guys seen a video, Triton shared it, my main thing was wacky rigging. And for some reason, spawning fish just love a wacky rig, and a lot of people think that it's a finesse technique, and it is, but big ones lead it too. I caught a 5 1/4 the first day wacky rigging, and then the second day I caught a 5 1/2 wacky rigging. So spinning rod on the Tennessee River, don't be scared to use it. Just taking a number 1 stinger hook, a little O-ring there, and I was using 16-pound braid down to a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. So I wasn't really going that light of line. I didn't have to worry about breaking them off. 2500 series spinning reel there, and then I was using this one on an SJ 842. It's a high mod rod. Again, I like that sensitivity out of the high mod series that we have, just to be able to feel that bite. I mean, when I was casting this wacky rig, you would actually feel it like a jig bite. When they would get it, it would be like a thump. So really a cool week for me, just casting this thing around where I thought beds were that I couldn't see, and I would get those fish to bite. And then if I saw a fish on a bed and wanted to work it over, or I wanted to just flip bushes and cover water trying to catch a spawning fish that I couldn't see, I would use the Texas rig sinking worm. So just a great week for me. I feel like I turned a practice that was changing on me into a really good tournament. Got some more valuable points, and we're 3 for 3 this year on checks, and having a great year. Very blessed, very thankful.
Deep. Oh, dude.
5-pounder?
5-pounder. Number 4, 5-pounder.
Gosh, that's a lot of fun, but boy, that is stressful on a man's heart when it's been
It was a big one when you hooked. I'm like,
so I hope this helps you guys out, helps you catch a few more fish. If you ever have any questions about how I set my stuff up, how I build my rods, what I do specifically with my setups, feel free to message me, get a hold of me. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I've got a little time off between now and Travis. Looking forward to that event. Gonna hopefully keep the momentum rolling. But if you got questions, feel free to hit me up and keep up with us at Lake Travis. Thanks guys for the support.